Hello, class of 2020. Thank you all for coming together around the country and around the world on this truly special day. This has been an exceptional year. It's one that none of us will soon forget. This was a year that brought great challenges and some major surprises. This year, we also witnessed accomplishments, new beginnings, and constant reminders of what makes us strong. For me, the big lesson of this year is that we draw our strength from community, and ours is especially strong. Never have I been more proud to work with all of you. In reflecting on this extraordinary time and the years of hard work that led us to this day, it occurs to me that the fundamental principles woven through your education prepare you not only for your professional futures, but for many of the challenges that you will face in life. The first of these principles is humility. Science and all scholarship begins with a fundamental position of humility, the acknowledgement that we do not know everything about the world and that some of what we think we know may not be true. From that same humility, you understand that no matter how much we plan, how much we prepare and think of every possible scenario, we cannot completely predict the future. Being prepared for the future does not mean knowing everything that will happen so that you can plan a neat, linear path. It means knowing that there are many paths forward so that no matter what happens, you will adapt and overcome. I hope that you, our students, feel that we have prepared you for this. Whether it was when you didn't know what to expect on an exam, couldn't predict when you would get into a class that you wanted, or even when you didn't know whether we would hold classes next week at all. You have learned to embrace the unknown, to plan for what you can predict, and to adapt when the unpredictable occurs. Next is an awareness that no discipline has all the answers. You have all studied more subjects than you probably wanted to. You are required to take science, math, humanities, philosophy, and I know that some of you would have preferred to take a more focused set of courses. But I hope that by studying a wide variety of disciplines, you have understood that there are a few simple problems in the world. That big, complex problems require big, complex solutions. It is hard to find a more clear example of that than the coordinated approach that our society is taking to this global pandemic. There are clear elements of biology, chemistry involved in fighting the disease itself. Quarantine is fundamentally a social phenomenon with real economic impacts. And as a community, we have all faced the very human problems of social isolation, balancing our values with safety, and as you go forward in your lives, you will find that your ability to see the multiple dimensions in any problem makes you better prepared to deal with it. Understanding that problems have many dimensions, I hope you've also gained an appreciation for understanding the world as it actually is, rather than as you wish it were. In every field of study, we have taught you that solving a problem begins with understanding the facts as clearly as possible. When you've recorded data, transcribed interviews, reviewed literature, or performed a close reading, you have begun solving problems by observing the world as objectively as possible. And this is where the fundamental humility of not completely knowing the world transforms into hubris. You have learned that through careful analysis and inquiry, you can, in fact, gain a better understanding of the world. By investigating and experimenting, you can ask questions about how the world truly is, and that leads you to understanding the roots of the big problems before us. As scientists, as scholars, as graduates of Nazarbayev University, your hubris builds to courage because you know that the world can change. And this is the fundamental lesson of history, that the world changes and that groups of people working together make a difference. And it is fundamental lessons behind all those lab reports that you wrote, that your actions create outcomes, and that you can, in fact, predict most of those outcomes if you have enough information about a problem. All scholarship is based on the notion that we can, in fact, come to know the world, that we can make a difference through disciplined and coordinated work. The orientation to understanding the solving problems is what will guide you. That orientation to understanding and solving problems is what will guide your success long after you have left in you. And finally comes the principle of community. We understand that we can only make a difference we seek by working together, by sharing our effort with the communities that support us. Thus, we saw our students this year working hard as a community by winning team competitions, organizing charity work, sharing responsibility for the university and student government, countless other ways. Perhaps the greatest example of this was in the huge sacrifice you all made by moving home for the last weeks of your university career. It sounds simple, but I'm awestruck by what you actually did and how gracefully you adapted to a completely new way of working. It wasn't easy, but you did it because you understood that it had to be done. not for yourselves, but for everyone else around you. You have embodied the spirit of community, your teamwork, and you have demonstrated outstanding commitment to the communities that have brought you here, your families, your home, your towns, your country, and your university. And so now, class of 2020, you will go into the world with the humility to know that you cannot predict the future, the hubris to believe that you can make a difference, the preparedness to adapt to the unexpected, and most importantly, the commitment to giving back to the community that gave you so much. This is what it means to be a Nazarbayev University alumnus, and this is why you will always be part of the NU community. So to the families, parents, the friends of our graduates, thank you. You have made all of this possible. These students represent so much of you, your hopes, your dreams, your sacrifice. Their success is a reflection of your values, your hard work, and your commitment to the future. We, their professors, are filled with gratitude for how you prepared them, and we're humbled by the trust you put in us to continue your hard work. Now we're here together. If not physically, at least we are all together today in the shared enthusiasm for the future that these students represent. Thank you to the families and to the class of 2020. Congratulations.